Hi guys, Office Bloke Dave here. I hope you're all doing great out there today. Before I get into this video, do me a massive favour. If any of you remember me doing the one chip challenge over with the Office Blokes like a year and a half or so ago, maybe 2 years ago now. If you enjoyed it and if you enjoy watching me suffer, which I know a lot of people out there like, just do me a favour and go over to OB Dave and African Ash on YouTube and subscribe. We're about 15 subscribers away from 1,000 subscribers. And I said as soon as we get to 1,000, I'm going to do the one chip challenge again, make a video out of it. So if you want to see me suffer, which it was bad last time, so I really just want to get it out of the way. We need to get there. I need to do it and move on with my life. Put it that way, because it's stressing me out knowing that it's coming. But yeah, just do me a favour, go over there and subscribe. It does mean the world to me, as well as it does subscribing here. But this one, we're about 15 subscribers away, so it's only going to take a few of you that are watching to do it. And yeah, you get to laugh at me absolutely suffering over there. And that's where I do couples sort of content with my girlfriend Ash, and some fun adventure stuff and camping stuff and things. You might find something you like over there. Anyway, the top 20 greatest country songs of all time. I'm very much a country novice. I've said this, I reacted to Hank Williams Jr. The other day, and I listen to Hank 3 regularly, which is his son, Hank Williams III. But he does country stuff, but he also does a lot of metal stuff and kind of punk stuff. And it's kind of outlaw country, which is like, for me, that's what I like. I like edgy, I like sort of like drink and drugs and gambling country, if you know what I mean. I don't really sway towards the really clean side of it as much. So that's possibly why I'm a novice, because everyone's heard like some typical country songs everywhere that are quite clean and quite nice and commercial. And for me, I just like the punk rock sort of country, if that makes sense. But anyway, I'm going to check out the top 20 greatest country songs of all time. I think I'll recognise a few. I hope I do anyway, otherwise I don't know what I'm talking about whatsoever. But yeah, let's watch it.
The day my mama socked it to the Harper Valley PTA.
Nope.
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 country songs of all time.
He said, son, I've made a life out of reading people's faces.
For this list, we'll be ranking the creme de la creme of country
Is that know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em? I think that rings a bell.
music from all of the genre's rich history. Did we leave out your favorite? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, El Paso, Marty Robbins. This one's for the old schoolers.
Nighttime would find me in Rose's Cantina. Music would play and Felina would whirl.
Marty Robbins' Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs LP from 1959 is a classic from the country music genre, featuring an iconic cover shot that immediately jumps out from the racks of vinyl on a shelf. The Spanish guitar instantly puts you in a time and place. An Old West cantina south of the border, where danger lurks around every corner. Bobby Sykes and Jim Glazer sing the song with amazing skill, harmonizing beautifully as they tell a tale of love, death, yearning, and loss.
Back in El Paso, my life would be worthless.
It does sound Spanish. Spanish influence.
The protagonist's story in El Paso predictably ends in tragedy. But let's be honest, would we really want it any other way?
To get shot.
Number 19, Goodbye Earl, The Chicks. Songwriting is a key component to a great country music song, with many compositions being performed by multiple singers, sometimes charting in completely different decades.
Wanda looked all around this town and all she found was Earl.
The Chicks didn't write Goodbye Earl, but their version from 1999 was released a number of years after its original songwriter, Dennis Lind, had his version recorded by a different band. Goodbye Earl deals with the controversial subject of domestic violence, both lyrically and with its accompanying music video.
But Earl walked right through that restraining order and put her in intensive care.
Despite this, the song was a hit for the Chicks, with a lot of money and attention raised to benefit battered women's shelters in the wake of its success.
Goodbye, Earl. We need a break.
Number 18.
I got distracted halfway through that because a gigantic spider just started coming down and then went on my phone and then just disappeared. I think we're all right. If you see him crawling on my face at any point, let me know in the comment section.
Hello, Darling.
Conway Twitty from Family Guy. That's where I know Conway Twitty from. I think there's a couple of episodes where they've gone to a clip of his song.
Conway Twitty. Some songs are just born for the live arena. In this case, Conway Twitty's Hello Darlin' was one of the legend's go-to openers, a bittersweet ballad full of the sort of love and loss so often found in some of the best country songs.
What's that, darling? How am I doing?
Twitty's voice almost sounds at the point of breaking when he sings the line, "Gotta go now." And it's this believability that lends Hello Darlin' such an emotional resonance.
Goodbye, darling. Gotta go now.
There's a pathos to Twitty's performance that lifts the song's arrangements from good to great, all the while making Hello Darlin' one of country music's most recognizable standards.
Come back, darling, I'll be waiting for you.
Number 17, Take Me Home, Country Roads,
Everyone knows it's
John
true.
Denver. There's a certain wistfulness and innocence to John Denver's smash hit, Take Me Home, Country Roads.
Almost heaven, West Virginia.
The song's melodic nature is evocative, painting a picture of long drives or perhaps hitchhiking, 1970s style, and thoughtful contemplation. Denver's vocals are clear as a crystal stream, untouched by grit yet possessing a likability that's uniquely John and John's alone.
All my memories gather round her.
The backing vocals accompany Denver beautifully, while acoustic and steel guitar interplay make Country Roads a song we can spin over and over again, with no worries whatsoever.
Take me home, that country roads.
Number
I don't think I've ever heard that version. I think I've only ever just heard cover versions. And that Take Me Home Country Road is such an iconic lyric. And it's been used so many times. But I don't think I've heard that. The banjo behind it didn't sound familiar at all.
Number 16. It Wasn't God Who Made Honky Tonk Angels, Kitty Wells. The term standard comes up again and again within country music. Those songs that make up the great book of music covered again and again by different artists.
As I sit here tonight, the jukebox playing.
It Wasn't God Who Made Honky Tonk Angels is one of those standards, a tune that lives forever, thanks to the magic present within its construction and the performances of those who try their musical hand. Kitty Wells first made the song popular back in 1952, with words and music composed by J.D.J. Miller.
It's a shame that all the blame is on us women.
Wells was the first female solo artist to hit the Billboard Country #1 with her version, an ode to cheating men and the dance hall girls who, to paraphrase Hank Williams, live on the wild side of life.
That has caused many a good girl to go wrong.
Number 5.
That's what I mean by the kind of clean side of it that doesn't really appeal to me too much. She's singing from the perspective of, it seems like anyway from the little clips they just showed, what a shame that these girls have gone wayward, I guess, and in the honky tonk sort of drinking with all the bad guys. Whereas I'm like, I want to hear the songs from the girls that are out partying and out drinking, or the guys that are living the life. That's more the side of things I enjoy.
15. Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys, Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson. Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys was a mild hit for songwriter Ed Bruce when he included it on his 1976 solo album, but most country fans are probably more familiar with the more famous cover version from 1978.
Cowboys ain't easy to love and they're harder to hold.
Waylon Jennings and Willie Nelson gave the tune an up-tempo spit shine with airtight musical backing on their studio rendition.
Cowboys like smoky old pool rooms and clear mountain morning.
The pair also dropped plenty of their own classic charisma onto the track, giving Mamas Don't Let Your Babies Grow Up to Be Cowboys a fresh lease on life for some new fans.
They'll never stay home and they're always alone, even with someone they love.
Number 14. Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning? Alan Jackson. The world of...
Did we react to this? I have a feeling over at Office Blokes React we reacted to this. Because it's about 9/11, isn't it?
Country music, perhaps more than any other genre, delved deep into emotional catharsis and reflection after the events of September 11th, 2001.
Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day?
This owes largely to its uniquely American origins, as well as the patriotism that usually comes part and parcel with country music as a whole. Still, Where Were You When the World Stopped Turning is particularly poignant by anyone's standard, thanks to Alan Jackson's legitimately focused delivery.
Did you notice the sunset the first time in ages? Speak to some stranger on the street.
There isn't a lot of rah-rah jingoism or revenge speak here, but rather a moment of connection with all of those who felt something on that day. There's a sense of shared loss and reverence for the dead, and a memory that many of us will never forget.
Faith, hope, and love are some good things he gave us, and the greatest is love.
Number 13. The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
We reacted to this at Office Blokes React as well, but I'd already heard it, and I'm sure I said that on the video. It was in a skate video, of all things, years ago. I can't remember what skate video, but it was just an iconic part that someone had put out, and this was the tune to it.
The Charlie Daniels Band. The Devil Went Down to Georgia is something of an outlier on this list, in that it absolutely rocks.
The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he was way behind and he was willing to make a deal.
Country music has always shined with its contemplative nature, but who said there was anything wrong with letting loose once in a while? Charlie Daniels' musical knowledge is set on full display with The Devil Went Down to Georgia, taking his experience as a sideman and songwriter by utilizing both hard rock and soul to tell his tale.
The boy said, my name's Johnny and it might be a
Stu.
sin, but I'll take your bet you're going to regret because I'm the best as ever been.
The fiddle between Old Scratch and Johnny tosses bluegrass, rock, and even some funk into the mix, with the end result being one of the most gleeful and fun country hits to ever cross over into mainstream radio. Number 12. Coal Miner's Daughter, Loretta Lynn. It's difficult hedging out just one track from Loretta Lynn's storied career in country music. The Pill was a controversial anthem of female empowerment, while One's on the Way humorously took a mirror image look into the life of a harried mother. Coal Miner's Daughter might be among the most personal and well-known songs from Lynn, and with good reason, because it's an all-time classic.
Well, I was born to coal miner's daughter.
Great voice.
The song is an autobiographical tale of Loretta's childhood and upbringing, and boasts amazingly...
Does every album cover from back then, every country album cover, country fans are going to have to tell me, did you have to tilt your head sideways for the photo? Because everyone they've shown so far, it's like, it seems like a thing. That seems like the style.
A rich production by the engineering legend Owen Bradley.
In the summertime, we didn't have shoes to wear.
Meanwhile, Lynn's vocals are full of charisma and mesmerizing depth, capturing our imagination every time we hear them, right to the present day.
Not much left but the floor. Nothing lives here anymore except the memories of a coal miner's daughter.
Number 11, Friends in Low Places, Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks is unquestionably one of the most well-known and popular names of modern-day country music, and Friends in Low Places is perhaps a fan favorite of his enviable musical repertoire.
Blame it all on my roots. I showed up in boots, ruined your black tie affair.
The song had been written and performed by a couple of other artists prior to Brooks getting his mitts on it, but his version definitely seemed to resonate with an audience ready to hear Garth deliver the goods.
I'll just say goodnight and I'll show myself to the door.
The man's vocal is full of sass and attitude, while the arrangements swing low and slow like a good barbecue. It's a meat and potatoes tune that begs for fun, perhaps slightly inebriated sing-alongs, and good times. Number 10, Always on My Mind, Willie Nelson. There's just something magical about the DNA of a truly great song, something that keeps bringing back, again and again, to singers that can work their own unique magic to the melody.
I was just thinking that it's one of those tunes that's been so heavily covered that I'm not even sure that I'm thinking of the Willie Nelson version when I think of it.
Willie Nelson's On the Road Again is one.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
While Always on My Mind is another. Having been recorded by legends such as Elvis Presley and Brenda Lee
It's the Elvis version I'm thinking of.
over the years, Nelson lent his own unique stamp to the song in 1982, a decade after it was originally composed by songwriters Wayne Carson, Mark James, and Johnny Christopher.
Tell me that your sweet love hasn't died.
Willie's version had crossover success outside of the country music world, while retaining its soft, balladeering structure. It's just a tender and melancholic song that tugs at the heartstrings every time.
You were always on my mind.
Number 9, Amarillo by Morning, George Strait. George Strait's version of Amarillo by Morning was a hit for the Texas-born singer a decade after the tune was originally co-written and recorded by Terry Stafford back in 1973.
Everything that I got is just what I've got on.
The processed 80s production style doesn't hurt Strait's version in the slightest, with the end result sounding somewhat similar to George's other big hit, All My Exes Live in Texas.
And Texas is a place I dearly love to be.
Here, both songs come across as smooth.
I'm going to be controversial and say that the sort of production on that, for me, is kind of like, it makes it feel like it's sort of paint by numbers country, if that makes sense. When I said, like, you always hear country tunes sort of to a degree growing up in the UK when I was a kid, but it's stuff like that where it's like the drums are really tight and it's kind of hard to explain, but everything's just very clean and tight, and I like it a bit looser, if you know what I mean, a bit more just wild.
But never soulless, and Strait's soulful vocal carries both tunes to the places they need to go. Amarillo by Morning may be a hard luck song about a rodeo rider, but George Strait sells it in a way that brings us nothing but joy.
Amarillo is where I live.
Number 8, The Gambler, Kenny Rogers. Some country music songs just seem destined to cross over into the cultural zeitgeist. The Gambler is one of those tunes, a defining song for Kenny Rogers from a career that spanned many different kinds of music.
Met up with a gambler, we were both too tired to sleep.
The Gambler is a little ways away from Rogers' beginnings as a psychedelic rock pioneer with his old group, The First Edition, and was actually the fourth time the tune had been recorded since being written by Don Schlitz in 1976.
'Cause every hand's a winner, and every hand's a loser.
Rogers' version feels like pop country before pop country was a thing. Although this doesn't diminish the work Rogers and producer Larry Butler brought to making The Gambler their own. This song just seemed like it was waiting for Kenny to take hold and take control.
You got to know when to hold up.
Yeah, that's the one.
Know when to fold up.
Number 7, Stand By Your Man, Tammy Wynette. The world of country music has possessed so many defining and devastatingly talented female performers. Tammy Wynette, however, may be among the very best. The first lady of country music, if you will.
Sometimes it's hard to be a woman.
Her career saw plenty of hits, but
see, what I like about that is, I mean, I know it's a lot older, so like 80s production sort of changed. This is decades before that. But a voice, you can hear pain and heartache in the voice, rather than like sort of some of the other singers, like the guy that was talking about, I didn't particularly like the production on. To me, sounds a little bit cheesy, like a little bit put on, if you know what I mean. And you listen to her singing then, her voice, and it was just that you could feel the pain, and I quite like that.
First lady of country music, if you will.
Sometimes it's hard to be a woman.
It's like delicate and painful.
Her career saw plenty of hits, but there's one song that stands above it all. The iconic Stand By Your Man. Wynette's insanely powerful vocals sell this somewhat controversial song from first note to last, but particularly so during the finale, where she goes all out with her performance of its high notes.
Keep giving all the love you can.
The creative relationship between Wynette and producer Billy Sherrill perhaps never saw a more bountiful harvest than the glory that was Stand By Your Man.
Stand by your man.
Number 6.
She looked like she's seen some things. Like, look at her eyes while she's singing there. Just feels more like she's got stories to tell. And I know nothing about her. And most of these people I've either heard, like a few of them I've heard one song, loads of them I've heard nothing of before. I've never heard of her before. But there's just something about her. There's just something about that voice and the look in her eyes while she's singing. It's true and it's painful. And that's what I like. It's easy to write happy music for a lot of people. And I think genuine, true, sad, sort of lonesome music is a real skill. And I think it's very hard to fake.
Your Cheatin' Heart. Hank Williams with his Drifting Cowboys. Hank Williams is often considered, and rightfully so, to be a defining personality of country music. His songs served as bedrocks for the entire genre, inspiring generations of musicians that stretch all the way to the modern day. I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry is just one of Williams' classic killers.
I'm so lonesome I could cry.
While Your Cheatin' Heart may be among his best-known songs, it's a classic tale of heartbreak, a country standard highlighted by Williams' iconic delivery and influential songwriting skill.
Your cheating heart will make you weep.
It's an easy entry for fans new to classic country music, while also one of the best examples of the genre at its most pure and undiluted.
Your cheating heart will tell on you.
Number 5. Jolene, Dolly Parton.
Iconic.
The words legend and talent get tossed around a lot, but they take on a whole new meaning when referencing the wonderful, inimitable Dolly Parton.
Jolene, 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 Jolene.
Want proof? How about the fact that the 9 to 5 singer told the Bobby Bones Show in 2018 that she apparently wrote not one, but 2 of country music's all-time classics on the same day? Yep, both I Will Always Love You and our next pick, Jolene, were apparently composed by Dolly within a 24-hour period. And we're just flabbergasted at the genius of it all.
And I can easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what he means to me, Jolene.
Chip Young's hooky guitar work is the glue that holds Jolene together, as Dolly sings her heart out about a woman she feels has designs on her man. It's a short and not so sweet slice of crossover country perfection.
Jolene, Jolene, please don't take him just because you can.
Number.
I watched that when every year when Glastonbury's on in the UK, the BBC broadcast quite a lot of it. There's loads of coverage. And I think it was like on a Saturday afternoon, possibly, just bumming around, not particularly doing anything, and I put it on, and it was Dolly Parton's set, and she was great. The crowd response was amazing. Her performance was great. Never been to Glastonbury yet. It's definitely on my list.
For 4, Mama Tried, Merle Haggard and the Strangers. The world of outlaw country has many classic heroes, including Waylon Jennings, David Allan Coe, and Johnny Paycheck.
I've just got to say it. I don't know if everyone out there has heard it or not. I've got no clue. But David Allan Coe did an album with the guys from Pantera, just not Phil Anselmo, called Rebel Meets Rebel. And it's like Dimebag, Vinnie Paul, Rex Brown, and David Allan Coe. And it was great. I've not listened to it for ages. But yeah, it was an awesome album. I need to get that out.
Merle Haggard also deserves mention in that distinguished company, thanks to his genre-defining work on songs like Okie from Muskogee, and our next entry, Mama Tried.
The first thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blowing.
There's a sense of futility to the song of a life destined for danger, despite the best intentions of the narrator's parents. The evocative beauty of Mama Tried and its acoustic bass is undercut by the stabs of lead guitar of the Strangers' Roy Nichols.
Dear old daddy, rest his soul, left my mom a heavy load.
While the ride cymbal accompaniment of drummer Eddie Burris lends the chorus of Mama Tried a jauntiness that makes it all the more memorable.
That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried.
Number 3, Crazy, Patsy Cline. In the world of country music, there's sadness, and then there's the near inescapable melancholy that is Crazy by Patsy Cline.
I'm crazy for feeling so lonely.
Patsy Cline takes the Willie Nelson pen tune and makes it irrevocably her own. And we challenge anyone to take a listen without feeling those teardrops fall. Patsy's voice is smoky, bluesy, and mournful, backed by a choral and piano accompaniment that makes Crazy the kind of song that works in many different settings.
I'm crazy for trying and crazy for crying.
It works in a dimly lit bar, perhaps while drowning one's sorrow or personal demons. But it also works perhaps as a coping mechanism for grief. Best listened to on headphones in the dark, allowing Cline to sing us the blues in her own inimitable fashion.
There's something comforting about melancholy, and I don't know if anyone else out there feels like it, but in certain scenarios, melancholy and sadness like that is actually like a warm blanket, which seems counterintuitive, but there's something so familiar and so comforting about it. It seems so backwards, and I'm guessing a lot of people maybe don't get what I'm talking about there, but it's definitely how I feel.
Number 2, He Stopped Loving Her Today, George Jones. The role of producer Billy Sherrill cannot be overstated when it comes to how it helped make the careers of some incredibly talented people.
He said, I'll love you till I die.
George Jones was one of those people, a voice of his generation that helped lay the groundwork for all of country music throughout his work in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It was Sherrill, however, that convinced Jones to take on I Stopped Loving Her Today in 1980. Just as the singer's career was in the midst of a slump,
You know, she came to see him one last time.
It's like Jim Carrey.
Oh, and we all wondered if she would.
Jones's dead-eye performance and Sherrill's giant, cavernous production style helped the song shoot off like a rocket, becoming, in the minds of many, the best country song ever recorded.
He stopped loving her today.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, I Walk the Line, Johnny Cash. For many, the voice of Johnny Cash is the voice of country music, and it's difficult to challenge that argument. This becomes particularly true when listening to the man's classic discography, featuring such hits as Ring of Fire and our number 1 pick, I Walk the Line.
I keep a close watch on this heart of mine.
It took 3 tries for I Walk the Line to become Cash's first #1 Billboard hit, but the end results display how much the song has entered the cultural zeitgeist when music fans tend to think of old school country music.
I keep you on my mind both day and night.
Maybe it's the Man in Black's deadpan delivery or those iconic lyrics, but I Walk the Line never fails to lift our spirits every time we hear it.
Because you're mine, I walk the line.
Did you enjoy this video?
Nice. Yeah, enjoyed that. I'm answering his question. What did you guys think? And 1, do you agree? 2, is there anyone missing off the list? And 3, what do I need to react to country-wise? Because I'm enjoying, I think I've explained like what I lean towards a little bit more, what I enjoy more. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's the heavily produced 80s stuff that I think feels a bit paint by numbers, that's great out there and that you guys are into, that you could tell me. Or am I right in thinking that the kind of outlaw country and the sadness and the pain sort of side of country is where it's at? Let me know on that. I'm enjoying sort of learning a bit more about the genre as a whole, so I'm going to be doing loads more country music reactions, but I need to know what your favourites are. So yeah, cheers for that one, guys. I do appreciate you watching. Like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and I will see you all again very soon. Cheers.